Doctors of Reddit, what are some of your anti-vax parent stories? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more. Folks, if you're wondering why so many comments have been removed in this thread, it's because these comments were posted by what we call sock puppets, accounts that are created solely for karma farming, account selling by stealing other users' comments. We remove the comments and ban the accounts as we find them. We had a 14-year-old female come in for abdominal pain one time. She weighed 80 pounds. Looked sickly. Her mother refused to let her eat anything but a handful of things, nothing with very much protein at all. She literally had a binder full of articles about how horrible vaccines are, all the bad things they put in food these days, etc. She had completely brainwashed this kid, so the kid believed it too. Her labs showed malnutrition, her teeth were horrible. Just a sad case all around. Had a kid come in for generic upper respiratory virus. Asked mom if he was vaccinated, as is routine. She said no. When I asked why not, her response was, well, my boyfriend was vaccinated and he still got meningitis, so they don't even work. I told her that's the same as saying your friend got bruised by a seat belt in a car accident, so you don't wear them when you drive. Fourth-year med student reporting in, had a rotation with a pediatrician where we ended up in the classic encounter with an anti-vaccination parent. This lady was a conspiracy theory magnet. She casually mentioned everything from 9/11 to chemtrails. Of course she loved the idea of the vaccine conspiracy as well, opting to not protect her 1-year-old to stick it to Big Pharma. I relayed all of this to my attending after my exam. I would see the patient first, gather history and do my exam to present to my attending physician. He got this sort of lazy smirk on his face that screamed, "Watch this." We go back into the exam room and we cover all of the important bits of a well-child encounter. Growth charts, behavioral milestones, nutrition, sleep, and then we get to vaccines. She lists approximately 15 reasons why vaccines are more dangerous than the disease they protect against. Lol. In addition to the various evils of the pharmaceutical industry, my attending listens quietly until she's done with her soapbox, about one eternity later, and then interjects with, have you considered the possibility that anti-vaccine propaganda could be an attempt by the Russians or the Chinese to weaken the health of the United States population? In a moment of catastrophic cognitive dissonance, I swear I heard a strange popping noise as her brain misfired. It actually broke her. The allure of the increasingly ridiculous conspiracy theory was just too strong. She ended up agreeing to a modified vaccine schedule. I was flabbergasted. My attending just grinned at me in response. To this day I'm not sure the medical ethics of the situation are totally palatable, but goddamn the result was amazing. Edit. Thanks for the internet points. Remember folks, it's all for the kids. Had a 5 or 6 years old patient who had a super hippie mom. No reason for not vaccinating other than, she doesn't want to, despite counseling many times. Kid also had asthma and would consistently come in for exacerbations despite prescribing appropriate controller meds. The amount of exacerbations just didn't make sense. One day, I sent my student to see him first while I called the pharmacy to see if his meds were received. The student came back saying, I can't get a history from mom. She's literally falling asleep while talking to me. Also, pharmacy said the meds haven't been picked up from the last 3 visits. That was enough for me to call CPS. Mom was on drugs. Living situation deplorable. Last I heard, kid was moved to an aunt who caught him up with age-appropriate vaccines. When I was a med student, I had a parent who wanted to do a delayed vaccination schedule. Basically it means that you get all the same vaccinations but you pointlessly and foolishly do it over a longer time period. The mom had read a book promoting this practice that was unfortunately written by an MD. My pediatric attending had zero chill. Is that the book written by Dr. _____? Yes. Well, then you should know that I was in the same medical school class as Dr. _____, but I got much better scores than he did. Friend of mine is a military OB/GYN. Was at a OB appointment with the pregnant dependent and service member. He had just returned from AFG a few months prior. OB mentions about follow-ups after delivery in first year of life, including vaccines. Wife says, I read on the internet that vaccines cause autism. I don't think we're going to do that. Husband says, I saw a lot of little graves in Afghanistan. Sure as shit we are getting our kid vaccinated. In medical school I saw a kiddo whose parents refused vaccines, and so when they were given the vaccine refusal form to sign, this form essentially said that the parents understood that refusing vaccines was against medical advice, that their kiddo could get sick from all those preventable diseases, and that they wouldn't hold the doctor practice liable for any complications that the kiddo may get from said preventable diseases. This mom pulled out a Sharpie and blacked out the part about the doctor not being held liable. The parents thought that we'd be cool with them just changing that form just for them, and they wanted the doctor to be held liable for their moronic choice. Of course this didn't work, and they were told to sign the form or they would be discharged from the practice and have to find another. They refused to sign and were told to leave after given a list of other pediatricians in the area. Med school student here. I was getting my hair cut and I was talking to the barber about how more people should get the new meningitis B vaccine, since I know a person who got meningitis B and almost died. The desk lady went off about how vaccines are dangerous, and pretty much every single anti-vax talking point. I explained the actual facts behind vaccines and said that I'm studying medicine, I think I might know what I'm talking about, and then she went off about professors not knowing what they are talking about and that they just teach what they are told to teach so that we can all be brainwashed into supporting the big pharmaceutical companies, and that my proof were all fabricated by them. Nearly qualified pharmacist here, so obligatory not a doctor. Our pharmacy offers travel vaccines for people going away to countries with a high likelihood of severe tropical disease. Star parenting goes to the parents who got themselves vaccinated for rabies, but not their two primary school age, elementary, for non-Brits, children. Not a doctor, but a nurse and a vaccine advocate. Once had a public argument with a friend from long ago. He argued that by not vaccinating his kids and risking terrible side effects and possible autism, he was placing no one else at risk, however acknowledged the potential risk to his kids. After attempting to explain the potential risk to others and him failing to understand, I created an analogy which I still use to this day. Imagine if my kids and your kids get into the same car. Both of your kids don't put on seat belts. Therefore, if there is an accident, there is an increased risk that your kids will die and also harm my children in the process. This seemed to click with him, and he doesn't share his anti-vax propaganda on social media anymore. Not directly related to my being a doctor, but a mutual friend of mine and my wife's is a chiropractor and anti-vaxxer. Refused to vaccinate her first two kids. I didn't want her or her kids coming anywhere near our place when we had newborns or kids less than 2 because of the risk her unvaccinated kids placed on my partially vaccinated babies. She got all offended, saying the usual rubbish like, if vaccines work, what do your kids have to fear, and, your kids are more risk to mine because they'll be shedding viruses. Her third child was born with cystic fibrosis, which makes them very susceptible to all forms of respiratory and airborne infectious diseases. Suddenly the whole hypocritical family is vaccinated against everything. I'll tell a different kind of story. I am an doc and recently had this interaction with a patient. Adult male comes in with fever, he comes back positive for the flu. You have the flu, I will write you for a prescription for Tamiflu. Patient, doesn't that cause autism? This guy couldn't even remember that it was vaccines that reportedly cause autism, and he couldn't remember that it wasn't the flu vaccine, and of course he is wrong about vaccines causing autism, and he is a grown-ass adult that thinks he will suddenly be autistic. I was a medical student when this happened. My attending pediatrician gave me a heads up about the parent I was about to see and decided it would be best if he came into the room with me. 4-year-old kid came in with a horrible cough and difficulty breathing. It was almost sure as hell pertussis, aka whooping cough. The kid was coughing so bad he vomited on the exam table. He went on to ask about vaccinating her kid, and of course she replied no, even though her son was damn near coughing up his lung right next to her. I think my attending had seen enough and had enough of her not vaccinating her kid and had the following conversation with the kid's mom attending. Mrs. ______, I have to ask you. Do you trust me with as your son's doctor? Mom, of course I do. Doctor ______ attending. Well, there's two problems here that we need to address. 1. You either think you are more knowledgeable than me when it comes to medicine, and if that's the case I should no longer be your son's doctor. Or you don't trust me as a physician, and in that case I shouldn't be your son's doctor. Mom, blank stare on face attending, will you please reconsider giving your son a vaccine? Mom, no. Me attending obviously treated her kid, but after this whole ordeal resolved he fired her and her son as a patient and referred them to another pediatrician. He had enough of her shit. I respected the hell out of him after he pulled this move. Edit. Thanks for the hardware, kind stranger. I'd like to take the opportunity to educate people on vaccines. I thought the following links might be helpful. Vaccine info for parents, https://www.cdc.gov/vaccines/parents/childhood-vaccines/index.html?s_sid equals pn-ensor-oi3-child-cdc-cdcvocht-phr-2- search closing parenthesis diseases that vaccines prevent, https://www.cdc.gov/vaccines/parents/diseases/index.html closing parenthesis ingredients in vaccines and why they are used, https://www.cdc.gov/vaccines/vac-gen/additives.htm closing parenthesis possible side effects of vaccines, https://www.cdc.gov/vaccines/vac-gen/side-effects.htm closing parenthesis. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe for more content.